Have you ever stopped to think about how services like Netflix or Spotify or even your cloud photo library can hold what seems like an infinite amount of stuff? Well, the answer is this technology that you use every single day, probably without even realizing it. We're going to talk about object storage. It's the real unsung hero of the modern internet. And just to wrap your head around the scale we're dealing with, look at this number, 100 trillion. And that's a conservative guess for how many individual objects are stored in just one service, Amazon's S3. It's a number so big it almost doesn't feel real. So that brings us to the big question, right? When you're faced with a number like 100 trillion, how on earth does the cloud manage all of that? How does it keep it safe and serve it up to billions of people around the world without just buckling under the weight of it all? To really get the genius of the solution, we first have to understand the massive wall developers slammed into. Before object storage came along, we had what I like to call the billion file problem. On one hand, you've got the old way, the folder system on your computer. We all get it, right? It works great for our own documents and photos. But on the other hand, you see what happens when you try to use that same idea for billions or even trillions of files. It just completely breaks. The folders become a nightmare to manage, finding one thing gets incredibly slow, and trying to spread that across the globe? Forget about it. So yeah, that old system hit a hard limit. The internet needed a totally new plan, a fundamentally different and, honestly, a much more elegant way to think about storing data. And that new way is built around this one powerful idea, the object. See, an object isn't just a file. It's more like a complete, self-contained little package. It bundles the data itself with a bunch of information about that data and gives the whole thing a single, unique address. So let's break that down. First, you've got the data itself, the video, the PDF, whatever it is. Then you've got a globally unique ID, which is just how you find it anywhere on the planet. But it's that third piece, the metadata. That's where the real magic is. The metadata really is the secret power. Instead of just a file name, you can have all these rich, custom tags. Think about a photo. The metadata can tell you what camera took it, the GPS location, even who's in the picture. It makes the data smart and searchable in a way that a simple file could never be. And this shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got that old, tangled web of folders. But on the right, that's object storage. It's not a hierarchy at all. It's just a massive, flat pool of objects. There are no folders, just one giant, infinitely scalable space. So how do you get stuff in and out of this giant pool? You don't mount a drive like you used to. You just talk to it. You use the simple language of the internet itself. Basic commands like put to upload, get to download, and delete to get rid of something. It's unbelievably straightforward. Okay, so we've got this really elegant, really scalable concept. Now let's see how this one idea completely unlocked the services that we all depend on every single day. I mean, this is the engine behind the modern cloud. Every movie you stream on Netflix, every song from Spotify, that media lives as an object in one of these systems. It's the foundation for those huge data lakes that companies use for analytics, and it's what makes giant, super reliable backups and archives possible. And a massive reason for its takeover is the cost. I mean, for archiving data that you don't need instantly, the difference is just staggering. We're talking about a potential 99% price drop, which completely changes the game for what's possible. Now, this probably sounds like the perfect solution for absolutely everything, doesn't it? But it's not a silver bullet. This incredible power comes with one very important and very intentional trade-off. Here it is. This is the grand bargain. What you get is near infinite scalability, insane durability. 11 nines means you could store 10 million files for 10,000 years and maybe lose just one. And of course, that dramatically lower cost. So what do you pay with? A little bit of latency. It's just not as instantaneous as a hard drive sitting right there in your computer. And because of that latency, it's absolutely the wrong tool for certain jobs. You would never run a fast-paced database or a computer's operating system on object storage. Those things need those millisecond response times that other kinds of storage are built for. So the key takeaway is this. If your data is unstructured, things like photos, videos, backups, and logs, and you're not constantly changing it, object storage is almost always the perfect answer. Which brings us right back to the beginning. When we look at the trillions of files and the oceans of data that make up our digital world, what was the one simple idea that made it all possible? It's this, the simple object. That self-contained package of data,
metadata, and a unique ID. It is the elegant, powerful, and scalable foundation that is quietly holding our entire digital world together.